I was teaching combat tactics in Montana when my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. The voice on the other end said 7 words that shattered 12 years of silence. "We found your son's body in the river." The same river where I once pulled 3 terrorist cells from the water. The same river I swore I'd never see again. They dumped him there like trash. They had no idea what that river meant, what I did there, who I used to be. Hit like, subscribe for more betrayal stories, and comment your city or country. My name is Victor Kane, and for 12 years I've been trying to forget who I was. I stared at my phone, the detective's words still echoing. "Your son, Adrian. We need you to come identify the body." Adrian, 23 years old. I hadn't seen him since he was 11. "Where did you find him?" My voice came out flat, mechanical, old training kicking in. "The Clearwater River, near the old industrial district." "I'm sorry, Mr. Kane. It looks like gang violence." "The Clearwater." Of course it was the Clearwater. I hung up without another word and stood in my small cabin, surrounded by mountains and silence. This was supposed to be my peace, my escape from the life that nearly destroyed me. I taught self-defense to locals, lived off the grid, and every night I didn't dream about the things I'd done for my country was a victory. But now they were calling me back. I packed a single bag. My hands moved automatically. Clothes, documents, the SIG sour I kept locked in the safe. Muscle memory from a life I'd buried. Then I pulled out the one photo I kept of Adrian. He was 7, gap-toothed, holding up a fish we'd caught together. His mother took the picture 3 weeks before she filed for divorce. "You're never here, Victor. And when you are, you're somewhere else. Adrian needs a father, not a ghost." She was right. I was hunting ghosts back then. Real ones. The kind that planted bombs in schools and shot up marketplaces. I chose that war over my family. By the time I realized what I'd lost, she'd remarried and moved to Philadelphia with Adrian. I called twice a year. Birthdays and Christmas. Adrian's voice got deeper each time, more distant. By the time he turned 16, he stopped answering. I told myself it was better that way. Safer. I drove through the night, 18 hours straight to Philadelphia. The city looked different, cleaner in some places, rotting in others. The Clearwater River cut through the east side like an infected wound. I knew every inch of that river. 15 years ago, I ran counterterrorism operations here. We used the industrial district as a staging ground. The old warehouses, the underground tunnels, the current patterns, I'd memorized all of it. 3 cells dismantled. 14 high-value targets captured. 2 killed when they chose to fight. The water remembered. I remembered. The morgue was in a concrete building that smelled like chemicals and death. Detective Grant Morrison was mid-50s, thick around the middle, with tired eyes and coffee breath. He extended his hand. "Mr. Kane, I'm sorry for your loss." I didn't take his hand. "Show me." He led me through a white hallway to a room with steel drawers built into the wall. He pulled one open, and there he was. Adrian, my son. His face was swollen, bruised. Marks around his neck. His hands showed defensive wounds. He'd fought back. The sight hit me like a fist to the chest, but I kept my face empty. "Is this your son?" "Yes." Morrison made a note. "We found him 3 days ago. Fishermen spotted him caught in debris near the south bank. Gang-related, most likely. The east side's been heating up, territorial disputes, drug trafficking. Wrong place, wrong time. Wrong place," I repeated slowly. "My son was dumped in a river, and you're calling it wrong place. Wrong time?" I looked at Adrian's face again. Something didn't fit. "He fought back," I said, pointing to the defensive wounds. "These aren't random. Someone skilled did this. And the bruising pattern on his neck, that's not a chokehold from a street punk. That's a trained restraint." Morrison's eyes narrowed slightly. "You have law enforcement experience?" "Something like that." "Well, Mr. Kane, I appreciate your observations, but we have forensics handling the case. Everything points to gang activity. There's been 4 similar murders in the past 6 months. And you've solved how many?" Silence. Morrison handed me Adrian's personal effects. Wallet, keys, a cracked phone, and a silver watch I'd sent him for his 18th birthday. I didn't think he'd kept it. We'll be in touch as the investigation progresses, Morrison said. I nodded and walked out. In the parking lot, I opened Adrian's wallet. Behind his license, I found a folded piece of paper, worn like he'd read it many times. It was the last letter I'd sent him. 5 years ago. 2 pages of apologies and explanations he never responded to. He'd kept it. My hands started to shake. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Morrison was wrong. This wasn't random gang violence. Adrian's mother lived in Society Hill now, a brick townhouse with flower boxes and a Mercedes in the driveway. Natalie answered the door, and when she saw me, her face went cold. Victor. Natalie. I'm sorry, don't. She held up a hand. Where were you when he needed you? Where were you when he was 14 and asking why his father abandoned him? I was trying to keep him safe. She laughed bitterly. Safe? He's dead, Victor. Our son is dead. You left us. You chose your missions, your secrets, your war. You don't get to grieve now. Natalie, I need to know what Adrian was doing near the Clearwater. Her expression changed. Surprise, then something darker. Fear. You need to leave, she said quietly. What was he involved in? He was asking questions, she shouted. About you. About what you did here 15 years ago. He wouldn't let it go. I told him to stop digging into your past, but he said he needed to understand. He said he found something. And then, her voice broke. And then they killed him. The world tilted. What did he find? She wiped her eyes. I don't know. He wouldn't tell me. But 2 weeks before he died, he came here scared. He said people were following him. He said he'd uncovered something big and he needed proof before he could go to the police. I begged him to stop. I begged him, Victor. Did he mention any names? No. But he kept going back to that river. He was obsessed with it. With you. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Adrian wasn't killed for being in the wrong place. He was killed because he was my son. Because he went looking for answers in a place where the shadows still had teeth. I'm going to find who did this, I said. Natalie's eyes filled with fresh tears. And then what? You'll kill them? That's all you know how to do. Violence. You couldn't save our marriage. You couldn't save our son. What makes you think you can save anything now? I had no answer for that. I drove to Riverside Heights, Adrian's neighborhood. The landlord, a heavy-set woman named Ivy, let me into his apartment. He was a good kid, she said. Quiet. Always polite. I still can't believe. Adrian's apartment was small but organized. A desk covered in papers and books. I started going through everything methodically. Law books. Criminal justice textbooks. Maps of the Clearwater River area, detailed, annotated. Photos of abandoned warehouses. Then I found the journals. 3 black notebooks filled with his handwriting. The last entry was dated 2 days before his death. I found the connection. It's not just a gang. It's a network. And it goes all the way up. Detective Morrison keeps telling me to drop it, that I'm wasting my time. But I saw the fear in his eyes when I mentioned Dominic's name. Tomorrow I meet my source. He has proof. Evidence that will expose everything. Dad, if you're reading this. The entry stopped there. Unfinished. I sat in the silence of my dead son's apartment, surrounded by his investigation, his courage, his hope that he could make a difference. He'd been following in my footsteps without even knowing it. And it got him killed. I walked to the window. From here, I could see the river in the distance, reflecting the city lights. They dumped Adrian there thinking the water would hide their crime. They had no idea that river was mine. That I'd walked its banks in the dark, hunted predators in its shadows, and pulled killers from its depths. I pressed my hand against the glass. I'm coming, I thought. And when I find you, you're going to wish you'd thrown me in that river instead. I spent the night in Adrian's apartment, reading every word he'd written. By sunrise, I had a clearer picture of what my son had been chasing, and who'd been chasing him back. The journals mentioned a lawyer named Paige Chun. She worked with trafficking victims on the East Side. Adrian had met her multiple times. She was helping him build his case. I found her office address tucked inside one of the notebooks, a small practice above a bodega on Frankfurt Avenue. The neighborhood was rough, the kind of place where people minded their business and cops showed up late. Her office door had reinforced locks. Smart. I knocked 3 times. "We're closed," a woman's voice called from inside. "Paige Chen. My name is Victor Kane, Adrian's father." Long silence. Then the locks clicked open. She was mid-30s, sharp eyes behind black-rimmed glasses, with the tired look of someone who'd seen too much. When she saw me, her expression shifted, recognition, then sadness. "You look like him," she said quietly. "Around the eyes. Can we talk?" She stepped aside and let me in. Her office was cramped but organized. Case files stacked on metal shelves. A desk covered in legal documents. Photos of missing girls pinned to a corkboard on the wall. "I'm sorry about Adrian," she said, sitting behind her desk. He was trying to do something good. Something most people are too scared to even attempt. "Tell me what he found." Paige hesitated, then pulled out a thick folder. "Your son came to me 3 months ago. He'd been researching disappearances near the Clearwater River. Young women, mostly immigrants, vanishing without a trace. No police reports. No investigations. Just gone." She opened the folder and spread photos across the desk. Faces. Names. Dates. 23 women in the past 2 years, she continued. Adrian believed they were being trafficked through an organized network. He started connecting properties, shell companies, money trails. Everything led back to one name, Dominic Kane. My blood went cold. Kane. No relation to you, as far as we know. Dominic runs the East Side like a corporation. Drugs, guns, girls. He's untouchable. Pays off the right people. Keeps everything quiet. And Adrian was building a case against him. Yes, but he needed proof. Hard evidence. He said he had a source, someone on the inside willing to talk. They were supposed to meet the night he. She stopped, unable to finish. Who was the source? I don't know. Adrian wouldn't tell me. He said it was safer that way. I leaned forward. Detective Morrison. How much does he know? Paige's jaw tightened. Morrison? He's been blocking me for over a year. Every time I try to file a missing persons report, he shuts it down. Says there's no evidence of foul play. Says these women probably just moved or went back to their home countries. He's either incompetent or complicit. Which one do you think? Complicit. Adrian thought so too. He said Morrison got nervous whenever Dominic's name came up. Like he was afraid. I stood and walked to the corkboard, studying the faces. 23 women. 23 families who'd never get answers. Adrian left an unfinished journal entry. I said. He mentioned meeting his source. He said they had proof. Paige nodded slowly. If that's true, then whoever killed Adrian has that evidence now. Or destroyed it. Unless Adrian hid it. Her eyes widened. You think he made a backup? My son was smart. If he knew he was in danger, he would have protected his work. Where would he hide it? I thought about the maps in his apartment. The obsession with the river. The abandoned warehouses. The place where this all started, I said. The old industrial district. My old operations site. Paige grabbed her coat. I'm coming with you. No, this isn't your fight. The hell it isn't. I've been fighting this battle alone for 2 years. Your son gave me hope that someone actually cared. I'm not backing down now. I saw the steel in her eyes. She reminded me of soldiers I'd served with. People who didn't quit, even when quitting made sense. Fine, but you follow my lead. We drove to the industrial district as the sun climbed higher. The area was a graveyard of rust and concrete. Abandoned factories. Broken windows. Graffiti-covered walls. The Clearwater River ran along the eastern edge, dark and sluggish. I parked near the old warehouse my unit had used as a staging point. The building looked worse than I remembered. Collapsing roof, crumbling walls, chain-link fence with a rusted padlock. I cut the lock with bolt cutters from my truck. Inside, The warehouse was dim and hollow. Pigeons scattered as we entered. Dust particles floated in beams of light from holes in the ceiling. Our footsteps echoed. "What are we looking for?" Paige asked. "Anything Adrian might have left behind. A hiding spot. Something only he would think of." We split up and searched. I moved through the space methodically, checking corners, loose floorboards, structural beams. This building held ghosts, memories of operations, interrogations, captures. I'd spent months here 15 years ago, hunting men who wanted to burn the city down. Now my son had died trying to save it. "Victor." Paige's voice cut through the silence. "Over here." I found her near the back wall, crouched beside an old air vent. She'd pried off the grate. Inside was a black backpack. I pulled it out carefully and unzipped it. Inside, a laptop, a burner phone, and a manila envelope stuffed with documents and USB drives. "He hid his evidence," Paige whispered. I opened the laptop. It was password protected. I tried Adrian's birthday. Nothing. Then I tried the date of our last fishing trip, the one from the photo. The screen unlocked. Files filled the desktop. Financial records, property deeds, surveillance photos, testimony transcripts. Adrian had built an airtight case against Dominic's network. But there was something else. A video file labeled insurance. I clicked it. Adrian's face appeared on screen. He looked exhausted, scared. The timestamp showed it was recorded the day before he died. "Dad, if you're watching this, then I'm probably dead." His voice cracked. "I found evidence that proves Dominic Kane is running a trafficking operation through the East Side. But it's bigger than him. There's someone else pulling the strings. Someone with power. Detective Morrison is involved. He's been covering up disappearances and taking payoffs. I have proof. But I also know they're onto me. If something happens, this evidence needs to get to the FBI, not the local police. The FBI. Don't trust Morrison. Don't trust anyone in the department. And Dad, I'm sorry I stopped answering your calls. I was angry, but I understand now why you did what you did. You were protecting people. I just wanted to do the same." The video ended. Paige wiped her eyes. I felt something break inside my chest, something I'd kept locked away for 12 years. "We take this to the FBI," Paige said. "Right now? We end this." I stared at the laptop screen, at my son's frozen face. "Not yet," I said quietly. "What? What?" "Because Adrian said there's someone bigger than Dominic. Someone with power. If we go to the FBI now, that person gets warned. They cover their tracks. They disappear. So what do you want to do?" I closed the laptop and looked at her. "I want to draw them out. Make them panic. Make them sloppy. Then we take them all down at once." Paige studied my face. "You're not just looking for justice, are you? You want revenge." "I want both." She nodded slowly. "Then tell me the plan." I slung the backpack over my shoulder and headed for the exit. The ghost had returned home, and the hunt was about to begin. We took Adrian's evidence back to Paige's office and spent hours going through every file. The deeper we dug, the clearer the picture became, and the uglier. Dominic Kane wasn't just running a street gang. He'd built an empire. Shell corporations owned properties across 3 states. Money flowed through legitimate businesses, restaurants, auto shops, construction companies. The trafficking operation was surgical. Girls brought in through the port, moved through safe houses, then distributed to buyers across the East Coast. But Adrian had found the weak link. A logistics coordinator named Kyle Brennan. Low-level soldier. 24 years old. He kept records, dates, locations, payments. Adrian had been working on flipping him. "This is who Adrian was meeting that night," Paige said, pointing to Kyle's name in the files. He was supposed to hand over the complete ledger. Names, dates, transactions. Everything. "Where's Kyle now?" She pulled up a police report on her computer. Found beaten half to death 2 nights after Adrian's murder. He's at Temple University Hospital. Critical condition. Hasn't woken up yet. Dominic cleaning up loose ends. Looks like it. I studied Kyle's photo. Young face. Scared eyes. Just a kid who'd made bad choices and gotten in too deep. We need to talk to him before Dominic finishes the job, I said. The police have a guard posted outside his room. Then we go at night. Paige looked at me carefully. You've done this before, haven't you? Infiltration. Extraction. Different uniform. Same skills. Who were you, Victor? Really? I met her eyes. Someone who hunted monsters. Then became one. Then tried to forget both. She didn't push further. That evening, I called Tristan back. He'd come through with intel. Dominic's operation was fracturing. Word on the street said he was paranoid, convinced someone was coming for him. He doubled security, moved to a fortified location, and started eliminating anyone who might talk. He knows someone's got Adrian's evidence, Tristan said. He's scared. Scared men make mistakes. Good. Keep the pressure on. Spread rumors. Make him think the walls are closing in. You got it. But Vic, be careful. This guy's connected. I'm talking judges, city officials, maybe even feds. I know. I hung up and checked my watch. 10 p.m. Visiting hours were over. Time to move. Temple University Hospital was a 12-story concrete complex in North Philadelphia. Security was standard, cameras, badge access, roving guards. Nothing I couldn't handle. Paige waited in the car while I moved through the parking garage. I'd changed into scrubs I'd bought from a medical supply store. Clipboard in hand. Confidence in my stride. People see what they expect to see. I took the service elevator to the 7th floor. ICU. The hallway was quiet. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. A nurse sat at the station, focused on her computer. Kyle Brennan's room was at the end of the hall. A uniformed cop sat outside, scrolling through his phone. I approached with the clipboard, not making eye contact. Evening, I said, walking past him toward the next room. He glanced up, nodded, went back to his phone. I slipped into the adjacent room. Empty, patient discharged. I moved to the wall and listened. The cop's radio crackled occasionally. His chair creaked when he shifted. I waited 15 minutes. Then his footsteps moved away, bathroom break or coffee run. I moved fast. Out the door, into Kyle's room, door closed behind me. Kyle lay unconscious, hooked to machines that beeped steadily. His face was swollen, stitched. Broken ribs. Punctured lung. Someone had worked him over professionally. I checked the machines, made sure nothing would alarm, then leaned close to his ear. Kyle, my name is Victor Kane, Adrian's father. I know what happened. I know you were trying to help him. I need you to wake up. I need you to finish what you started. Nothing. Just the steady rhythm of the ventilator. I tried again. Adrian trusted you. He believed you wanted out. He believed you were brave enough to do the right thing. Was he wrong? Kyle's eyelids flickered. That's it. Come on. Fight. His eyes opened slowly, unfocused. He saw me and panic flashed across his face. He tried to move, but the restraints held him. Easy, I said quietly. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to finish what Adrian started. But I need your help. He stared at me, breathing rapid and shallow. You were supposed to give Adrian the ledger, I continued. The complete records. What happened that night? Kyle's mouth moved, but no sound came out. Too much damage to his throat. I grabbed a pen and paper from the bedside table and placed it in his hand. Write it. His hand shook, but he managed to scrawl 3 words. They knew. Trap. My blood went cold. Adrian walked into a setup? Kyle nodded weakly, then wrote again. Morrison told them. Morrison, the detective. He'd fed Adrian to the wolves. Where's the ledger now? Kyle's hand trembled as he wrote. Dominic has it. Where does Dominic operate from? Before Kyle could answer, footsteps echoed in the hallway. The cop was coming back. I leaned close. Where? Kyle scribbled fast. Warehouse 7. River District. Thank you. I slipped out through the bathroom that connected to the next room, moving quickly through the corridors and down the back stairs. By the time security noticed anything unusual, I was already in the parking garage. Paige saw my face when I got in the car. What happened? Adrian was set up. Morrison told Dominic he was coming. They were waiting for him. Her hands gripped the steering wheel. That son of a Morrison's the link. He's been protecting Dominic's operation from the inside, killing investigations, covering up evidence, probably getting paid six figures to look the other way. What do? I stared out at the city lights. We go after Dominic first. Take down the operation. Get the ledger. Then we expose Morrison for what he is. How? The same way I hunted terrorists. Find their weakness. Exploit it. Make them turn on each other. Paige started the engine. Adrian would be proud of you, you know. He spent his whole life trying to understand who you were, what you did, why you left, and now he's dead because of it. No, she said firmly. He's dead because he was brave, because he saw injustice and couldn't walk away. That's not your fault, Victor. That's your legacy. I didn't respond. Legacy was just another word for the ghost you leave behind. But maybe Adrian's ghost deserved better than mine. Maybe it was time to make sure of it. Warehouse 7 sat on the edge of the river district, a massive steel structure surrounded by chain-link fence and razor wire. Floodlights illuminated the perimeter. Guards patrolled in shifts. Cameras covered every angle. Dominic had turned it into a fortress. I spent 2 days watching the place, learning patterns, counting personnel, mapping entry points. Paige provided intel from her contacts, delivery schedules, shift changes, weak spots in their security. There's a blind spot on the northeast corner, she said, pointing to satellite images spread across her desk. The camera coverage overlaps there for exactly 40 seconds during rotation. That's enough. Victor, this is insane. There are at least 15 armed men in that building. You can't just walk in. I don't plan to walk in. I plan to make them come out. I showed her the layout I'd sketched. Dominic moves product every Wednesday night. Trucks come in, load up, head to distribution points. If we hit the trucks before they leave, Dominic loses millions. He'll panic, send people to investigate. That's when we move. And do what? Get inside. Find the ledger. Get proof. She studied my face. You're going to get yourself killed. Maybe. But Adrian died trying to stop these people. I'm not letting that be for nothing. Wednesday night came fast. I positioned myself on a rooftop across from Warehouse 7 with a clear view of the loading bay. 3 trucks idled in the dock. Men loaded crates under supervision. At 11 p.m., I made the call from a burner phone. Anonymous tip to the Port Authority about suspicious activity at the warehouse. Then I triggered the fire alarm at a building 2 blocks away. Sirens wailed. Confusion rippled through Dominic's crew. Half the guards left to investigate. The trucks pulled out early, drivers spooked. I moved during the chaos. 40 seconds. Northeast corner. I scaled the fence, dropped inside, stayed low in the shadows. The remaining guards were distracted, watching the commotion outside. I entered through a side door. Unlocked, just like Paige said it would be during shift changes. Inside, the warehouse was divided into sections. Storage, processing, office space. I moved like smoke. Silent. Invisible. Voices echoed from the main floor. Men arguing about the alarm, the trucks, the timing. I climbed a metal staircase to the second level where the offices were located. Dominic's office had his name on the door. I picked the lock in 30 seconds. Inside was exactly what you'd expect. Expensive desk, leather chairs, wall safe behind a painting. Classic. I knelt by the safe. Digital lock. 8 digits. I pulled out a small device Tristan had provided, a lock decoder used by federal agencies. It cycled through combinations in seconds. The safe clicked open. Inside, stacks of cash, passports, a handgun, and a leather ledger. I grabbed the ledger and flipped through it. Dates, names, transactions, everything Adrian had died trying to expose. Footsteps in the hallway. I pocketed the ledger, moved to the window. 3 stories up. No easy exit. The door burst open. 2 men with guns. I didn't hesitate. I drove my elbow into the first man's throat, took his weapon as he fell, and used it to block the second man's swing. I swept his legs, dropped him hard, and put him down with a single strike. Both unconscious in under 10 seconds. But the noise had drawn attention. Shouts from below. More footsteps pounding up the stairs. I grabbed a chair and smashed the window. Cold air rushed in. I looked down. Alley below, dumpster to the left. Not ideal, but I'd survived worse. I jumped. The impact rattled my bones, but I rolled with it, absorbing the shock. Pain shot through my shoulder. Ignored it. Kept moving. Gunfire erupted above. Bullets sparked off the pavement. I zigzagged through the alley, using parked cars for cover. A black SUV screeched around the corner, headlights blinding. I dove behind a dumpster as bullets tore through metal. Then, sirens. Real ones this time. The SUV hesitated, then peeled off. Dominic's crew wasn't stupid enough to stick around for police. I limped to where Paige waited 3 blocks away, engine running. "You're bleeding," she said as I climbed in. "Drive." She didn't ask questions. We disappeared into the night. Back at her office, I dropped the ledger on her desk. She stared at it like it was a bomb. "This is it," I said. "Everything Adrian collected. Everything they killed him for." Paige opened it carefully, reading through pages. Her expression shifted from shock to rage. Names. Buyers. Politicians. Judges. Police officers. She looked up at me. "Victor, this goes all the way to the top. If we release this, we don't release it yet. First, we use it as leverage. Make Dominic think his own people are turning on him. Plant doubt. Create chaos." "How?" I pulled out my phone and took photos of specific pages, transactions involving Dominic's top lieutenants. Then I sent them anonymously to those same lieutenants with a simple message. "He's cutting deals. Saving himself. Are you next?" "Now we wait," I said. "Let paranoia do the work." Paige leaned back in her chair. "You really were built for this, weren't you?" "I was built to protect people. This is just another way of doing it." She nodded slowly. "Adrian wrote about you in his journal. He said he used to be angry at you for leaving. But the more he learned about what you did, the more he understood. He wanted to be like you." I felt something tighten in my chest. He was better than me. Maybe, but he got his courage from somewhere. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere out there, Dominic was realizing his world was collapsing. And Detective Morrison was about to learn that some ghosts don't stay buried. They come back, and they bring hell with them. The messages worked faster than I expected. By morning, Tristan called with updates. "Your boy Dominic is losing his mind. 2 of his lieutenants got into a shootout last night. One's dead, the other's in hiding. Word is Dominic thinks someone's feeding information to the feds. Good. Keep spreading rumors. I want him isolated. You're playing a dangerous game, Vic. It's the only game that works." I hung up and turned to Paige. She'd barely slept, still going through the ledger, cross-referencing names with case files. "I found something," she said, sliding a document across the table. "Kyle Brennan's mother. She lives in Kensington. If we can get to her, maybe she'll convince him to testify when he wakes up. It's worth a shot." We drove to Kensington, a neighborhood where hope went to die. Boarded-up houses. Attics on corners. The kind of place where people survive day by day. Kyle's mother, Eliza Brennan, lived in a narrow row house with bars on the windows. She answered the door with suspicious eyes, a cigarette burning between her fingers. "What do you want?" "Mrs. Brennan, my name is Victor Kane. My son was Adrian. He was working with Kyle before they both got hurt." Her expression softened slightly. "I heard about your boy. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Please. It's about Kyle." She hesitated, then stepped aside. The house smelled like smoke and old furniture. Photos of Kyle as a kid covered the walls. Little league, school pictures, birthday parties. Before everything went wrong. "Kyle's a good kid," Eliza said, sitting down heavily. "He just fell in with the wrong people. I told him to get out. I begged him, but he said he owed them. Said he couldn't just walk away. He was trying," Paige said gently. "He was helping Adrian build a case. He wanted to do the right thing." Eliza's eyes filled with tears. "And look where it got him. My boy's in a coma because he tried to be a hero. He can still be one, I said. When Kyle wakes up, we need him to testify. Put Dominic and everyone involved behind bars. But we need your help to convince him. You think Dominic's just going to let that happen? He'll kill Kyle the second he opens his mouth. Not if we protect him. Not if we bring the whole organization down first. She studied my face. You're not a cop. No. I'm a father who lost his son. Just like you almost lost yours. Something passed between us. An understanding that only parents who've lived through hell can share. If Kyle wakes up, she said slowly, and if you can promise me he'll be safe, I'll talk to him. You have my word. We left Kensington with one ally secured. It wasn't much, but it was a start. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Yeah. Mr. Kane. The voice was cold, controlled. My name is Dominic. I think we should talk. My pulse quickened, but I kept my voice steady. I don't have anything to say to you. You have something that belongs to me. A ledger. I want it back. Not happening. Then let me be clear. You're making a mistake. You think you're some kind of avenging angel? You're just a man. A man who can bleed. Who can lose everything he cares about. I already lost everything. Not yet. You haven't. He paused. I know about the lawyer. Paige Chun. I know where she lives. Where she works. How she takes her coffee in the morning. Ice flooded my veins. You touch her, and there's no deal. No negotiation. I burn your entire world to the ground. Dominic laughed softly. Brave words. But you're in over your head. Meet me tonight. Pier 52. Midnight. Come alone. Bring the ledger. And maybe we can work something out. Otherwise, people start dying. And it won't be quick. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, mind racing. Paige looked at me. What did he say? He wants to meet. Exchange the ledger for safety. It's a trap. I know. So what are we going to do? I thought about Adrian. About how he'd walked into a trap believing he could save people. About how that courage got him killed. But Adrian hadn't been trained for this. He hadn't spent 15 years learning how predators think. I had. We give him what he wants, I said. But on our terms. I don't understand. Dominic thinks I'm desperate. Emotional. Sloppy. He's expecting a grieving father making stupid mistakes. Instead, I'm going to show him what a trained operator looks like when you threaten the wrong person. I pulled out my phone and called Tristan. I need equipment. And I need the FBI. The FBI? Vic, what are you planning? I'm planning to end this tonight. Paige grabbed my arm. Victor, if you walk into that meeting, I'm not walking in. I'm setting a trap of my own. Dominic wants the ledger? Fine. But he's going to have to take it from the FBI's hands. Understanding dawned in her eyes. You're going to record everything. Get him on tape making threats, admitting to the murders. Exactly. Then we hand it all over to federal agents who aren't on his payroll. Adrian gave us the evidence. Now we make sure it lands where it can do damage. She nodded slowly. What do you need me to do? Stay somewhere safe. Somewhere Dominic can't find you. And if anything happens to me tonight, you take that ledger straight to the bureau. Promise me. Victor, promise me. I promise. I spent the rest of the day preparing. Tristan delivered a wire, a backup weapon, and contact information for an FBI agent named Hunter Reeves who specialized in organized crime. I called Reeves, explained the situation, and sent him copies of the ledger. This is solid evidence, Reeves said. But we need more. We need Dominic on record. You'll have it by morning. Mr. Kane, let us handle this. You don't need to. Yes, I do. This is personal. He didn't argue further. We'll have tactical teams positioned nearby. If things go south, we move in. Understood. As midnight approached, I drove to Pier 52. The waterfront was deserted, dark except for scattered streetlights reflecting off the river. The same river where they'd dumped my son. I parked and stepped out, the wire hidden under my jacket. The air smelled like oil and salt water. Headlights appeared. A black SUV rolled to a stop 50 feet away. Dominic stepped out, flanked by two armed men. He smiled like a shark. Victor Kane, the ghost hunter. Finally, we meet. I stood my ground. Let's get this over with. Where's the ledger? Where's your proof you'll let everyone walk away? He laughed. You don't get it, do you? This isn't a negotiation. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. The wire captured every word. And in the darkness, federal agents moved into position. The trap was set. Dominic's smile faded when he saw my expression. I wasn't afraid. Wasn't nervous. I was waiting. You're awfully calm for a dead man, he said. That's because I'm not the one who's trapped. His eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? I tapped my chest. Wire. FBI's listening to every word. And they're positioned around this pier right now. Dominic's face went pale. His men reached for their weapons. I wouldn't, I said calmly. You're outnumbered and outgunned. This ends one of two ways. You surrender, or you die trying to run. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Dominic started laughing. Not nervous laughter. Genuine amusement. You really think you're smart, don't you? He pulled out his phone and turned the screen toward me. I've been recording too. And I've got friends in very high places. Before I could respond, headlights flooded the pier from multiple directions. But these weren't federal vehicles. Police cars. Marked units. And leading them was Detective Grant Morrison. My blood turned to ice. Morrison stepped out, hand on his weapon, and walked straight toward Dominic. But he wasn't arresting him. He was standing beside him. Sorry, Kane, Morrison said with a cold smile. But you walked right into our trap. Not yours. Dominic gestured to his men. Take his wire. And his weapon. They moved fast. Stripped the wire from my chest. Took my gun. I didn't resist. My mind was racing, calculating. Morrison held up a badge. Federal operation. You're interfering with an ongoing investigation. I'm going to have to take you into custody. You're not FBI, I said flatly. No, but I have friends who are. Friends who make sure guys like Dominic can operate smoothly. You think this is just some street gang? This is a network that spans law enforcement, politics, even federal agencies. Your son figured that out. That's why he had to die. The words hit like bullets. You killed Adrian yourself, didn't you? I said quietly. You set him up. Told him Kyle would meet him. Then you delivered him to Dominic's people. Morrison's smile widened. Smart kid. Too smart. He actually found the connection between the trafficking network and the task force I'm part of. We've been using Dominic's operation to catch bigger fish. International cartels, smuggling rings. Your boy was about to expose the whole thing. Couldn't let that happen. So you murdered him. I did what was necessary. And now I'm going to do the same to you. He pulled his weapon. So did the uniformed officers behind him. The FBI isn't coming, Morrison continued. I made sure of that. Any call you made went through channels I control. You're alone, Kane. And you're about to have a tragic accident. Lone vigilante attacks organized crime figure. Gets killed in the crossfire. Very sad. Very final. Dominic watched with satisfaction. You should have taken my offer earlier. Now you don't get a choice. I looked at Morrison. At the man who'd killed my son. Who'd corrupted the badge he wore. You made one mistake, I said. What's that? You assumed I came alone. Morrison's expression shifted, confusion, then alarm. Red laser sights appeared on his chest. On Dominic. On every armed man present. FBI, drop your weapons. Now, Agent Reeves emerged from the shadows with a tactical team, weapons raised. More agents appeared from every direction, rooftops, vehicles, the pier itself. Morrison's face went white. This isn't possible. I shut down the operation. You shut down the local field office, Reeves said. I called in teams from New York and D.C. People you don't control. People who've been investigating your corruption for 6 months. We just needed evidence. And Victor gave us everything. I pulled a small recording device from my jacket pocket. A backup I'd hidden. The wire was bait. This was the real recording. Every word you said. Every confession. Morrison's hand trembled on his weapon. Don't do it, Reeves warned. It's over. For a moment, I thought Morrison might fight. Might go down shooting rather than face prison. But the math was simple. 20 federal agents with automatic weapons against 6 corrupt cops and 3 gang members. Morrison dropped his gun. So did the others. Grant Morrison, you're under arrest for murder, conspiracy, corruption, and obstruction of justice, Reeves said, moving forward with handcuffs. Dominic Kane, you're under arrest for human trafficking, murder, racketeering, and organized crime. The agents moved efficiently, cuffing suspects, reading rights, securing the scene. Morrison looked at me as they led him away. You think this changes anything? You think you won? There are others. People higher up. This doesn't end. Maybe not, I said, but it ends for you. And that's enough. Dominic spat at my feet as they dragged him past. Your son died begging, crying for his daddy. You know that. I stepped forward, fists clenched. Reeves grabbed my arm. Don't. He wants you to hit him. Give him ammunition for appeals. I forced myself to breathe, to step back. He's right, you know, I said to Dominic. Adrian did call for me, because even at the end, he believed in something bigger than himself, something you'll never understand. He died a hero. You're just going to die in prison. They loaded Dominic into a federal transport vehicle. Morrison followed. The pier slowly emptied. Agents processing evidence, securing the scene, interviewing witnesses. Reeves approached me. You did good work tonight. Risky but good. Did you get enough? More than enough. Morrison's confession combined with the ledger you provided? We're talking about dozens of arrests. Judges, politicians, dirty cops. This is going to shake the entire city. What about the trafficking victims? The missing women? We've already started raids on the properties listed in that ledger. We'll find them. Bring them home. I nodded, feeling a weight lift slightly. Not gone. Never gone. But lighter. There's something else, Reeves said. Kyle Brennan woke up this morning. He's talking, cooperating. His testimony will seal Morrison's case. Good. You should go see him. He's been asking for you. I drove to the hospital as dawn broke over Philadelphia. The city looked different now, cleaner somehow, like poison had been drained from its veins. Kyle was awake, propped up in bed, his mother beside him. When he saw me, tears filled his eyes. I'm sorry, he croaked. I'm so sorry about Adrian. I tried to warn him. But Morrison, I know, I said. It's not your fault. He was a good person. He believed in me when nobody else did. He said I could change, that it wasn't too late. It's not. You're going to testify. Put these people away. That's how you honor Adrian's memory. Kyle nodded, wiping his eyes. I'll do it. Whatever it takes. Eliza squeezed my hand. Thank you. For protecting my son. Thank Adrian. He's the one who believed Kyle was worth saving. I left the hospital and drove to Paige's office. She was waiting, laptop open, reading news reports flooding in about the arrests. You did it, she said. You actually did it. We did it. You and Adrian built the case. I just finished it. She stood and hugged me. Tight, emotional, exhausted. What happens now? She asked. Now the legal system takes over. Trials. Testimony. Justice. And you? I thought about Montana. My cabin. The quiet mountains where nobody knew my name or what I'd done. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But for the first time in 12 years, the weight on my chest felt bearable. Adrian had died trying to save people. And maybe, just maybe, he'd save me too. The arrests made national news. Headlines screamed about corruption, conspiracy, and justice delayed but finally delivered. Morrison's face was plastered across every channel. The dirty detective who'd sold his badge for blood money. But I knew the truth. Morrison was just a soldier. Someone higher had been giving orders. Someone who remained invisible. I spent the next 3 days going through every file in Adrian's evidence. Cross-referencing names, dates, transactions. Paige worked beside me, her legal mind connecting dots I would have missed. Look at this, she said, pointing to a series of wire transfers. Every payment to Morrison came through the same offshore account. But the account holder is hidden behind shell corporations. Can you trace it? Not legally. But I know someone who can. She made a call. 2 hours later, a thin man with glasses arrived at her office. He introduced himself as Quinn, a forensic accountant who specialized in finding hidden money. "This is sophisticated," Quinn said, examining the files. "Whoever set this up knows international finance." But they made one mistake. They reused the same routing number on 3 different transfers. He typed rapidly on his laptop, databases scrolling past. "Got it. The shell company is registered in the Cayman Islands, but the controlling entity is domestic. A private security firm called Apex Solutions." The name triggered something in my memory. I know that company. They contracted with federal agencies for counterterrorism operations. I worked alongside them 15 years ago. Paige's eyes widened. "You think this goes back to your old missions?" "Maybe. Or maybe someone from that world saw an opportunity and took it." Quinn pulled up Apex's corporate structure. The CEO is a man named Tristan Cole, former military, special operations background. He founded Apex after leaving government service. My stomach dropped. "Show me his photo." Quinn pulled up an image. It was my contact, the man I'd called for information, the man who'd been feeding me intel. "Tristan." "No," I whispered. Paige looked at me. "Victor, what's wrong?" "I've been calling him, giving him updates, telling him everything we found." Her face went pale. "Oh God. He's been feeding information back to Dominic. He knew about the pier, about the FBI. That's why Morrison showed up." I slammed my fist on the desk. "I let him write to us. I trusted him." "How long have you known him?" 20 years. "We served together, saved each other's lives." I thought. I stopped, the betrayal cutting deep. "I thought he was one of the good ones." Quinn cleared his throat. "There's more. Apex Solutions has contracts with ICE, Border Patrol, and Homeland Security. They're in the perfect position to facilitate human trafficking. They control ports, checkpoints, surveillance systems." Paige stood abruptly. "This isn't just about Dominic's gang. This is an international operation using government resources. And Tristan's been running it the whole time." My phone buzzed. Text from Tristan, "We need to talk. Meet me at the old warehouse. 1 hour. Come alone." I showed it to Paige. "It's another trap," she said. "I know. But this time I'm ready." I called Agent Reeves and explained everything. He listened in silence, then cursed under his breath. "Apex Solutions has been on our radar for years, but we've never had enough evidence to move. If Tristan's involved, he is. And I'm going to get you proof. Kane, don't do this. Let us handle it. He won't talk to you. He'll lawyer up, hide behind corporate protections. But he'll talk to me. We have history." Reeves hesitated. "If we do this, you wear a wire. And we have tactical units within striking distance." Agreed. An hour later, I drove to the old warehouse, the same one where I'd found Adrian's evidence. The building looked different now. Darker, more sinister, knowing what it really represented. Tristan's truck was already there. I stepped inside, wired for sound, weapon holstered but accessible. Tristan stood in the center of the empty space, hands in his pockets, relaxed posture. "Victor, thanks for coming." "Cut the act, Tristan. I know everything. Apex, the trafficking network, the offshore accounts. Morrison was working for you." He smiled sadly. "Took you long enough. I was starting to think you'd lost your edge." "Why?" "We fought together, bled together." "Why this?" Tristan walked slowly, his voice calm. "Because I got tired of risking my life for nothing. We hunted terrorists for pennies while contractors made millions. We stopped bad guys while politicians got rich. I decided to change sides. Use the skills they gave me to build something profitable. You're trafficking human beings. I'm running a business. Supply and demand. If I don't do it, someone else will. At least I keep it organized. Professional. You sound just like the terrorists we used to hunt." His expression hardened. "Don't compare me to them. I serve my country. I earned the right to profit from my service." "And Adrian, did he earn the right to die?" Tristan stopped walking. "Your son was collateral damage. He got too close to the operation. Morrison called me, asked what to do. I told him to handle it quietly. Make it look like gang violence. I didn't know it was your kid until after. I actually felt bad about it. Rage burned in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. So you used me, fed me information, manipulated me into going after Dominic while you stayed hidden. I needed Morrison removed anyway. He was getting sloppy, scared. Dominic was expendable too. You did me a favor, actually. Now I can rebuild with a cleaner operation. You're not rebuilding anything. The FBI knows. They have the ledger, the wire transfers, everything. Tristan laughed. You think I didn't plan for this? Apex has legal protections, government contracts. I've got senators on speed dial. Even if charges come, I'll be in a minimum security facility for a couple years at most. Rich men don't go to prison, Victor. We pay fines and move on. Not this time. Really? What makes you think? His phone buzzed? He looked at it, and his face changed. What did you do? I didn't do anything. But Quinn, our forensic accountant, he's been busy while we've been talking. Every account you control? Frozen. Every asset? Seized. The FBI just executed simultaneous warrants on Apex offices in 12 cities. Your lawyers are in custody. Your senators? They're running for cover. Tristan's calm facade cracked. You can't prove I personally. I just did. Everything you said is on record. Agent Reeves, you get all that. Reeves's voice came through my earpiece and through speakers outside. Every word. Tactical teams, move in. Doors burst open. Federal agents poured in from every entrance, weapons raised, voices shouting commands. Tristan reached for his weapon. Don't, I said quietly. You taught me better than that. You're surrounded. Outgunned. It's over. He looked at me with something like respect. You were always the best of us. Vic, too bad you chose the wrong side. I chose the side my son would be proud of. They cuffed him. Read him his rights. Led him away in chains. Reeves approached as they secured the scene. We got him. Every word admissible. This is going to tear down the entire organization. Good. There's going to be trials. Testimony. This could take years. I'll be here as long as it takes. Reeves nodded. Your son would be proud. I hope so. As they processed the scene, I walked to the spot where I'd found Adrian's backpack, where my son had hidden the truth, hoping someone would find it. I knelt down and pressed my hand against the cold concrete. I got them, Adrian, I whispered. All of them. It's done. The warehouse felt lighter somehow, like ghosts had finally been laid to rest. Outside, dawn was breaking over the river, the same river that had taken my son, but now it reflected something different. Not death, justice. The next morning, I got a call I wasn't expecting. Mr. Kane? This is attorney Ruby Castellano. I represent Dominic Kane. My client would like to speak with you. Tell your client to rot. He says he has information about your son's final hours. Details only he knows. He'll trade that information for a meeting. I gripped the phone harder. What kind of information? That's between you and him. But he insists it's something you need to hear. I hung up and immediately called Reeves. It's a manipulation tactic, he said. Dominic's trying to get in your head. Don't take the bait. What if he really knows something? Kane, he's facing life in prison. He'll say anything to create leverage. But I couldn't let it go. The idea that Dominic knew something about Adrian's last moments, something I didn't know, it burned like acid. Against Reeves's advice, I agreed to the meeting. They held Dominic at a federal detention center downtown. Maximum security. Orange jumpsuit. Shackles. 2 guards stood outside the interview room as I entered. Dominic sat at a metal table, hands cuffed in front of him. He looked smaller without his crew, without his guns. Just a man facing the end of his freedom. Victor Kane, he said with a thin smile. The ghost who wouldn't stay buried. I sat across from him. You have 5 minutes. Talk. Your son died brave. I'll give him that. Most people beg when they know it's over. Adrian didn't. He looked Morrison straight in the eye and told him history would remember him as a coward. My jaw tightened. Morrison killed him? Morrison gave the order. But I was there. I watched. Dominic leaned forward. You want to know what his last words were? Every muscle in my body tensed. He said, "My father will find you. All of you. And when he does, you'll wish you'd never been born." Dominic's smile faded. I laughed at him, told him his father abandoned him years ago, that you didn't care. But he just smiled, said you taught him that real soldiers never quit, that you'd finish what he started. My throat constricted. Why are you telling me this? Because your son died believing in something. In you. And I need you to understand. I'm not like Morrison or Tristan. They hid behind badges and corporations. I'm a soldier too, just on the other side. I respect what you did, taking down the corruption. But you need to know there's always another war. Another enemy. What are you saying? Dominic's eyes went cold. I'm saying Morrison and Tristan weren't the top. Someone higher protected this operation for 15 years. Someone with real power. They let you take out the middle management because it buys them time. But they're still out there. Still operating. Who? I don't have a name. But I have a message. 2 days ago, someone accessed my attorney-client communications. Someone with federal clearance. They wanted to know how much you knew. How much evidence you had. That's not normal procedure. My blood went cold. Someone in the FBI? Or higher? I don't know. But whoever it is, they're watching you right now. And when the trials start, when people start testifying, accidents will happen. Witnesses will disappear. Evidence will get lost. That's how power really works. You expect me to believe you're trying to help me? I expect you to be smart. Your son figured out the network went deeper than street gangs and dirty cops. He died before he could prove it. Don't make the same mistake. The guard knocked. Time's up. I stood, studying Dominic's face. He wasn't lying. Fear flickered in his eyes. Real fear of something bigger than prison. Why tell me this? I asked. Because if you take them down, maybe my sentence gets reduced. Or maybe I just want to see the bastards who used me get what they deserve. Either way, watch your back, Kane. The people at the top don't lose. They just sacrifice pawns and start over. They led him away. I walked out of the detention center into blinding sunlight, my mind racing. If Dominic was right, then everything we'd accomplished was just removing one layer of a deeper corruption. My phone rang. Paige. Victor, we have a problem. Quinn was in a car accident this morning. He's alive, but critical. And his apartment was broken into last night. All his computers stolen. Where are you? My office. But Victor, I'm scared. Someone's cleaning up. Getting rid of evidence. Witnesses, stay there. Lock the doors. I'm coming. I drove fast through downtown traffic. My mind kept returning to Dominic's words. Someone with federal clearance. I called Reeves. We need to talk. Now. In person. I'm at the field office. Come straight here. 20 minutes later, I sat in Reeves's office, the door closed. I told him everything Dominic had said. Reeves leaned back, fingers steepled. Quinn's accident could be coincidence. You don't believe that? No, I don't. He pulled out a file. There's something I haven't told you. When we arrested Morrison and Tristan, we flagged their communications for monitoring. 3 hours after the arrests, someone tried to delete files from our evidence servers. Sophisticated hack. We traced it to a terminal inside the Justice Department. Jesus, how high does this go? I don't know. But I've requested protection for all witnesses. Kyle Brennan, Paige Chun, you. Everyone gets round-the-clock security until trial. That's not enough. If they're willing to kill federal witnesses, they'll find a way. Reeves met my eyes. What do you suggest? We accelerate the timeline. Get indictments fast. Move to trial before they can regroup. And we keep the evidence distributed. Multiple locations. Multiple copies. Make it impossible to destroy. That's actually smart. I'll talk to the prosecutors. Do it today? Because I don't think we have much time. I left the federal building and drove to Paige's office. 2 FBI agents now stood guard outside. She was inside, pale and shaken. Quinn's going to make it, she said. But the doctors say someone tampered with his car's brake lines. This wasn't an accident. I know, but we're not backing down. We're going to finish this. For Adrian. For all of them. She nodded, but I could see the fear in her eyes. That night, I stayed at a safe house the FBI provided, a nondescript apartment in South Philly with armed guards outside. I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Adrian's last words. About how he believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello, Victor. The voice was electronically distorted. Male or female, I couldn't tell. You've been very busy. Very disruptive. Who is this? Someone who's watched your career with interest. You were effective in your counterterrorism days. Ruthless. We appreciated that. But now you're causing problems. Good. You don't understand the game you're playing. The people you're fighting, they built the system. They are the system. You can't win. Watch me. Adrian thought the same thing. Look how that ended. Rage flooded through me. You son of a, we're offering you a choice. Walk away. Take the money Tristan would have given you. Disappear. Or keep fighting and lose everything. Including the lawyer who's become important to you. The line went dead. I sat in the darkness, fists clenched, heart pounding. They'd just made their biggest mistake. They'd threatened Paige. Now this wasn't just about justice anymore. It was personal, and I was done playing defense. The threat against Paige changed everything. I called an emergency meeting with Reeves at midnight. His face was grim when I played him the recording of the distorted voice. We can trace this, he said, but it'll take time. We don't have time. They're escalating. First Quinn, now direct threats. They're getting desperate. Reeves pulled up files on his laptop. The grand jury convenes in 3 days. We're presenting evidence against Morrison, Tristan, and Dominic simultaneously. If we can get indictments, that's when they'll strike. Right before testimony. Maximum chaos. So what do you want to do? I leaned forward. We force their hand. Make them come out of hiding. How? We announce that Kyle Brennan is ready to testify. That he's going to name everyone involved, including people we haven't arrested yet. We leak it to the media. Make it look like Kyle knows everything. Reeves's eyes widened. You want to use him as bait. With his consent. And with every protection we can provide. But yes, we draw them out, catch them in the act, and finally see who's really pulling the strings. That's dangerous. If anything happens to Kyle, nothing will happen. Because we'll be ready. Reeves studied me for a long moment. You've changed since you got here. When you first arrived, you were just a grieving father. Now you're thinking like an operator again. Adrian's death gave me purpose. I'm not letting it be for nothing. All right, I'll talk to Kyle and his mother. But this has to be their choice. The next morning, we met with Kyle at a secure location. His mother, Eliza, sat beside him, protective and terrified. I laid out the plan. They're going to come for you before trial. We know that. So instead of waiting, we control when and where. We put you in a safe house, leak your location through controlled channels, and wait for them to make their move. Kyle's hands trembled. You want me to be a target? I want you to be the hero Adrian believed you could be, but only if you're willing. Eliza grabbed her son's arm. Kyle, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do, Mom. He looked at me. Adrian saved my life by believing in me. I owe him this. I owe all those missing girls this. You're sure? I'm sure. We spent the next 48 hours preparing. Reeves assembled a tactical team, agents he personally vetted, people outside the normal chain of command. We set up a safe house in Fishtown with hidden cameras, reinforced doors, and multiple exit routes. Then we leaked the story. Key witness ready to testify in trafficking case. Kyle Brennan to name high-level officials. The media ran with it. By evening, it was national news. Now we waited. The first night passed quietly. Too quietly. The second night, motion sensors detected movement outside the safe house at 2 a.m. Thermal imaging showed 4 figures approaching, professional, coordinated, armed. Here we go, Reeves whispered through comms. The figures bypassed the front entrance and headed for a side window. They moved like military, trained, efficient, dangerous. One of them placed a small explosive charge on the window frame. Hold, Reeves commanded the tactical team. Let them breach. We need them inside. The explosion was controlled, just enough to blow the window. The four figures entered fast, weapons raised, clearing rooms with precision. They reached Kyle's bedroom, kicked the door open. The bed was empty, just pillows arranged to look like a sleeping body. FBI, drop your weapons. Lights flooded on. Tactical agents emerged from every angle, rifles trained on the intruders. 3 of them surrendered immediately. The 4th tried to run, made it 5 steps before agents tackled him. Reeves yanked off their masks. I recognized 2 of them. Former soldiers. Men who'd served with Tristan at Apex Solutions. But the 4th man made my blood freeze. Federal Marshal Logan Pierce. Someone with high-level security clearance. Someone who could access witness files, evidence servers, everything. Logan Pierce, you're under arrest, Reeves said, cuffing him personally. Pierce said nothing, just stared at me with cold, calculating eyes. We brought them to the federal building for interrogation. Reeves took Pierce alone into a room while I watched through one-way glass. Who sent you? Reeves demanded. Pierce smiled. Lawyer. You're a federal marshal. You took an oath to protect witnesses. Instead, you tried to murder one. I want my lawyer. Reeves slammed his hand on the table. Your career is over. Your life is over. The only question is how many years you spend in prison. Give us names. Who's at the top? Pierce leaned back. You really think there's a top? This isn't some conspiracy with a mastermind. It's a system. Hundreds of people making small compromises. Taking small payments. Looking the other way. You can arrest me, arrest Morrison, arrest Tristan. Nothing changes. The machine keeps running. We'll see about that. Reeves walked out, frustrated. I met him in the hallway. He's right about one thing. This isn't about one person. It's structural. So what do? We take it to trial. Put everything on record. Make it public. Let the system judge itself. And if the system is too corrupt, then we trust that enough good people still exist to make it work. 3 days later, the grand jury returned indictments against Morrison, Tristan, Dominic, Pierce, and 17 others connected to the trafficking network. The trial date was set for 6 weeks out. Paige threw herself into preparation, building the prosecution's case with files Adrian had collected. Kyle agreed to testify. Other victims came forward, empowered by the arrests. One evening, as Paige and I reviewed testimony in her office, she looked up from her work. We're really going to do this. Take them all down. Yes, we are. Adrian would be proud. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. Outside, the city lights reflected off the river that had taken my son but couldn't drown the truth. Justice was coming. Slow, painful, imperfect, but coming. The trial began on a cold March morning. The federal courthouse was packed. Media, victims' families, protesters demanding justice. Security was unprecedented. Armed marshals at every entrance. Metal detectors. Bomb-sniffing dogs. I sat behind the prosecution table with Paige. She wore a dark suit, hair pulled back, all business. But I could see her hands trembling slightly as she organized her notes. You ready? I whispered. No. But Adrian didn't get to be ready either. So I'll do this for him. The defendants entered in chains. Morrison looked older, defeated. Tristan remained defiant, chin up. Dominic stared straight ahead, emotionless. Logan Pierce smirked like this was all theater. Judge Natalie Hartford presided, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s with a reputation for hating corruption. She looked at the defendants with unconcealed disgust. This court will now hear opening statements in the United States versus Morrison, Kane, and others. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Ophelia Grant, stood and addressed the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to hear a story of betrayal that runs so deep, it shakes the very foundation of justice. A story of men who wore badges but served criminals, who took oaths but sold their souls. And most tragically, a story of a young man named Adrian Kane who died trying to expose the truth. She paused, letting that sink in. Adrian was 23 years old. He worked at a community center helping kids stay off the streets. He had no police training, no legal background, just courage and a stubborn belief that right matters more than power. He investigated when nobody else would. He documented evidence when nobody else cared. And when he got too close to the truth, they murdered him and threw his body in the Clearwater River like garbage. I felt my chest tighten. But Adrian's father, Victor Kane, wouldn't let his son's death be in vain. And neither will we. Over the next weeks, you'll hear testimony from survivors. You'll see evidence of a trafficking network that exploited vulnerable women. You'll hear confessions from men who betrayed their oaths. And you'll understand that justice delayed is not justice denied. It's just justice waiting for the right moment. The defense attorneys tried their best. They argued lack of evidence, questioned witness credibility, painted their clients as scapegoats for a broken system. But the evidence was overwhelming. Kyle Brennan testified first. He described the trafficking operation in detail, how women were brought through the port, distributed to safe houses, sold to buyers across multiple states. He named names, showed records. His voice shook, but he never wavered. Adrian Kane believed I could change. He died trying to protect me. The least I can do is tell the truth. Survivors testified next. Women who'd been trafficked, brutalized, and discarded. Their stories were heartbreaking. The jury listened in stunned silence, some wiping tears. Page presented the ledger Adrian had compiled. Financial records, property deeds, wire transfers, every transaction documented. This is Adrian Kane's legacy, she told the jury. A young man who gave his life to create this evidence, who believed that truth matters, that justice matters, that people matter. The defense tried to discredit the ledger. Failed. They tried to suppress Kyle's testimony. Failed. They tried to create reasonable doubt. Failed. On the seventh day, the prosecution played Adrian's video, the one he'd recorded as insurance. His face filled the courtroom monitors. "Dad, if you're watching this, then I'm probably dead." The courtroom went silent. Even the defendants shifted uncomfortably. Adrian's voice, his courage, his hope, it filled the space like a ghost demanding to be heard. When the video ended, I saw several jurors crying. The turning point came when Agent Reeves testified about Logan Pierce's attempted hit on Kyle. He presented surveillance footage, Pierce and his team breaching the safe house, weapons drawn, intent to kill. This wasn't rogue behavior, Reeves explained. This was systematic corruption. Pierce had access to witness protection files. He knew locations, identities, security protocols. He used his badge as a weapon against the very people he swore to protect. Pierce's attorney had no response. The trial lasted 4 weeks. Then the jury deliberated for 3 days. When they returned, Judge Hartford asked for their verdict. On the charge of murder in the first degree against Grant Morrison, guilty. Morrison's head dropped. On charges of human trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy against Dominic Kane, guilty on all counts. Dominic showed no emotion. On charges of corruption, conspiracy, and attempted murder against Logan Pierce, guilty on all counts. Pierce finally lost his smirk. On charges of human trafficking, money laundering, and racketeering against Tristan Cole, guilty on all counts. Tristan's jaw clenched. Judge Hartford addressed the defendants. You wore badges. You held positions of trust. Instead of protecting the innocent, you preyed on them. Instead of upholding justice, you sold it. 23 women vanished because of your greed. And a brave young man died because he threatened your profits. The maximum sentence allowed by law is insufficient for what you've done, but it's what I have. Therefore, Morrison received life without parole. Dominic received life without parole. Pierce received 40 years. Tristan received life without parole. The courtroom erupted. Families of victims cried and hugged. Media rushed to file stories. Paige squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. We did it, she whispered. Adrian did it. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. Mr. Kane, how do you feel about the verdict? I thought about Adrian. About his journals, his courage, his belief that one person could make a difference. Justice doesn't bring back the dead, I said, but it honors them. My son died believing the system could work if good people fought hard enough. Today proved he was right. What's next for you? I'm establishing a foundation in Adrian's name. We'll help at-risk youth, support trafficking survivors, and train people to investigate corruption when authorities won't. Adrian's work isn't finished. It's just beginning. The weeks that followed brought unexpected peace. The trafficking network collapsed. Dozens more arrests followed as lower-level participants flipped and cooperated. Missing women were found and reunited with families. Safe houses were shut down. Money was seized and redirected to victim support. Paige and I worked together building the Adrian Kane Foundation. She handled legal structure while I developed training programs based on investigative techniques Adrian had used. Kyle Brennan enrolled in community college, studying criminal justice. He wanted to become a counselor helping kids avoid the mistakes he'd made. One evening, 6 months after the trial, Paige and I stood at the Clearwater River, the exact spot where Adrian's body had been found. I come here sometimes, I admitted, to talk to him, to tell him what we're doing. Probably sounds crazy. It's not crazy. It's love. We stood in silence, watching the water flow past. The city had installed a memorial plaque at this spot, bronze, engraved with Adrian's name and the words, "He believed truth could change the world." He was right. Do you ever wonder what he'd think? Paige asked. If he'd be proud? Every day? But I think I know the answer. Adrian didn't want revenge. He wanted justice. He wanted change. We gave him both. What about you? Are you staying in Philadelphia? I thought about Montana. My cabin. The quiet mountains. Part of me still wanted that escape. But another part, a bigger part, knew I belonged here now. Finishing what Adrian started. Yeah, I'm staying. Someone has to make sure his legacy lives on. Paige smiled. Good. Because I was hoping you'd co-direct the foundation with me. Officially, I'd be honored. She hugged me, and we stood there as the sun set over the river that had tried to bury the truth but instead became a symbol of justice restored. Adrian's story had started with tragedy, but it ended with hope. And sometimes, that's the most powerful revenge of all. I looked at the plaque one last time, tracing Adrian's name with my finger. Rest easy, son. Your fight is over. But the change you started? That's just beginning. The river flowed on, carrying away the darkness, reflecting the light. The Yindi word count. 1,299. Hey, I want to ask you something important. How did this story make you feel? Did Adrian's courage inspire you? Did Victor's journey for justice move you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And please, tell me where you're watching from. Whether it's New York, London, Karachi, or anywhere else. I love knowing where my audience is connecting from around the world. If this story gripped you, hit that like button and subscribe for more intense betrayal, revenge, and justice stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Speaking of which, what kind of stories do you want to hear? Family betrayal? Military revenge? Cheating spouse getting exposed? Corrupt officials taken down? Let me know in the comments what type of content fires you up, and I'll create stories specifically for you. Until then, stay sharp, stay strong, and I'll catch you in the next thriller. We've got another epic revenge story coming that'll blow your mind. Take care, and remember, truth always finds a way. Story is finished.